YouTube, welcome. We're going to talk with Twitch chat, and we're going to include you as well. This is a just chatting stream. We're talking about damage reduction on body armor, and I think it's a good topic, and I feel conversational. Someone in Twitch chat asked, oh, I gotta go find it real quick. Somebody in Twitch chat asked, do you think it's problematic that a lot of the new chess pieces have 20 plus flat DR? Seems like you're kind of forced into using them, kind of like red rings, parenthetically, if you can. My TLDR is no. I like opportunity costs. I like having options. And I like situational DR that you have to build into. I think having too few options would feel limiting. I think having more options is a wonderful place for a game like Last Epoch to be. So at the very beginning of this, I got to point this out. I think one of the best strengths that Last Epoch has is opportunity costs. Like the opportunity cost of using a red ring instead of something else, instead of using a doom ring, for example, along with the doom belts. Using a doom belt, has the opportunity cost of not using, normal 4 affix belt because you're not gonna have a 4 LP one of these, or even like the new beer belts. It's like very, very, very cool. Like using, for my particular Erasing Strike build, using a Dark Stride instead of using the Inevitable, or instead of using Sularon Step, for like extra melee crit multi. So the fact that item implicits are so strong, I'm getting around to it. Let me cook. The fact that item implicits are so strong, exalted items have 4+1 for sealed affix, which also opens up set affixes and champion affixes. And not every base type has an equivalent for a unique item, for the purposes of unique items, because we're talking about those. Means that even like a champion regalia, the normal sentinel endgame base type that has 700 armor on it, like there's even a good use case for using something like a champion regalia with that 700 armor and the damage over time mitigation implicit, to use that along with something like set crafting for 30 bonus strength from the last bear set, for example. My point with this preamble is to say that I think the opportunity cost dynamics in Last Epoch are amazing. I think they're very, very good. And I think that Last Epoch should lean into them more. The reason that I need to set up this preamble is that there is a damage penalty for dual wielding, which I do not like. This has been nerfed twice, I think, the damage penalty for dual wielding. It's funny to compare this to something like Path of Exile, but I digress. In Last Epoch, when you dual wield, just by putting on a second weapon, you are increasing the damage that you receive from enemies. If you're in hardcore, very few use cases where you're interested in this. In softcore, go ham, do whatever you want to do. I like to build my hardcore and softcore characters approximately the same, though. In terms of an opportunity cost, I posited once upon a time in the Ask the Devs channel for Last Epoch for EHG, I posited that we could take this off, making the same argument in favor of the opportunity cost being so high that when you dual wield, you can't use a shield, which is really good DR. It also means that you can't use a Titan Heart, because the Titan Heart is a great, wonderful way, especially post 084 when we had legendary crafting. It's been a couple years now. Titan Heart's a really good place to be for two-hander builds, because you get to have some extra DR on your chess piece. So Mike's response at that point in time was that, like, I hear where you're coming from. If Titan Heart, he addressed the Titan Heart portion of the question. If Titan Heart is that good, then maybe it's an issue with Titan Heart. So in Twitch chat, we've been memeing for a long time that, oh god, by asking this question, I may have accidentally got Titan Heart nerfed. Oops. I didn't, but I was worried that it would have happened in an alternate reality. The way to nerf Titan Heart, or to adjust around Titan Heart, would be two things. You could either nerf it, which I don't think was the right choice. Come on, dude, let me survive a little bit. Or by offering alternatives, which brings us back to the question that Twitch chat posited. Do I think it's a bad thing that we have new body armors that have DR on them? No, I really don't. So the new body armors in question, first one is Null Portent. Null Portent does not fit into every build. you need a lot of extra resistance. It works well with the paladin stuff because the paladin gets a lot of extra resistance. And we saw at the beginning of season 2, people were using this, even though it was bugged, to give you bonus res, or bonus DR. Even without the bug, it's still just a good chess piece because you get to use it instead of a Titan Heart. You get to use a shield and you get the bonus DR on it. It's a really good chess piece. It still has the opportunity cost of not being a different chess piece. And it has the build around that you need to be able to fulfill the requirement for this thing for each resistance individually, because that's how it works. Cool. The other body armor in question is the Pale Ox. And I think the Pale Ox is a super, super strong body armor. Not only does it have strength on it, for some reason, it also has health on it already, movement speed, plus levels of skills, which may or may not be relevant. Thank goodness it's on a bad base type. Thank goodness it only has 74 base armor, which is a really, really low base armor. But then it has this interesting text with a ride roll between 16 and 24. Percent of damage redirected to your highest health minion. And not every build gets to make use of this. Some builds do, but like not everyone. So you could combine this with like a Primalist, summoning Thorn Totems over and over with like Thorn Totem on hit idols, which is like your 1x4 or your 4x1 idol over here. But of course, that cuts into like, okay, what if you wanted to use 2x2s instead? It kind of defines part of your build and it gives you a restriction that you need to work around. It doesn't work with Falcon, thankfully. Holy shit. You could use it with a minion with high recovery rates. A minion that just like has so much life that you don't matter. It doesn't matter too much. You could use it with something with like cooldown swipe to like recover your minion to full health if you're like a primalist. You could do bees. We're talking about bees as well. Bees would be like a summon bee on potion use. So whenever you click a potion, you get bees summoned, and then like percentage of damage gets redirected to them. You'd have to spam potions, but like maybe for a build that like generates a lot of potions, it could be good too. Crab, yeah. So like we're even brainstorming things right now. Ring of Shields counts. Yes, it does. But the point is, like, you have this interesting restriction, like this interesting build around. It doesn't fit in every single build. This might be too ubiquitous. Like, maybe it gets nerfed. But, like, it is interesting, right? Even just, like, hovering over this item, Twitch chat's like, what about this? What about this? What about this? And, like, yeah, all of those are really cool. All of those have downsides. Crab means that you are not using different rings. It means that you're giving up your evade. It means that you're relying on a minion that has low health pool and is going to get one tapped, and you have to summon it again to get the DR. So Crab's not good. You could, but, like, Crab's not good. Etero's Blessing plus Mantle can go everywhere. So, like, it's the opportunity cost of not using a different chess piece instead, right? Are Rogue Shadows minions? No, they're not. I'm still waiting for like Wall of Nothing's time to shine. I love every single time I see Wall of Nothing in a build. That percent chance to take 0 damage when hit is very similar to damage reduction. It's more like evade, it's more like block, because it's binary instead of like it's like percent damage reduction, right? But I like it. It's good. Yeah, totems, I mentioned totems already. I think the game needs more things like this. More options to build around instead of fewer options to build around. It's good. Titanheart is maybe very strong, but there's similar niche options. It sits nice, Lin's roll. Yeah, which is why I'm very happy, right? Like, I started out this whole thing by saying, like, Titanheart, I was worried that Titanheart was going to get nerfed. But, like, less damage taken while wielding a two-handed melee weapon, like, not every build is, like, is using a two-hander. So having, like, these other options. Titanheart's also very easy to get with, like, 1, 2, 3 LP. I would very much so be in favor of that. Remove the dual wield penalty, it's stupid. I tend to agree with you. You give up using a shield, which is very strong. And then you give up using a Titan Hearts. You don't give up using a Mantle or a Null Portent. But I still just think it's kind of archaic. I still just think the dual wield penalty is kind of archaic. I don't like it being in the game. It's more like parry versus block. Yeah, parry chance could be something that they lean on more for like dual wield builds. And like they kind of have that a little bit in the Forge Guard Master up here, right? Parry chance while dual wielding. Parry chance is strictly better than block chance. It doesn't cap at 100% chance, but it also means you're not relying on block effect at all, which is like pretty sick. It's a percent chance to take 0 damage. It's like basically avoidance, right? Yeah, I would like more parry chance in the game. I'd be in favor of that. Parallax is 64 LPL, and Titanheart is 60 LPL. So they're fairly similar in the LP chance, yeah. So maybe Parallax ends up being like OP. Like it's probably the best item in my opinion that's been added to the game in the current patch. It's a crazy item. Like maybe it's too easy to use, but it is wicked interesting. You know what I mean? Like it's a really cool build around. And like the initial question that set me all off on this is, do I think it's a problem that DR is available in body armor? And like, no, I don't think it is. Especially not when it's as interesting as this. Like null portent's not very interesting, but like you still need to meet that requirement. And having end game body armors that require like a bunch of specific gear that give you DR, like that's a good thing, not a bad thing. Titanheart's the easiest one, but like I think it's totally fine. Absolutely not a problematic item. The only thing that's problematic about things like Titanheart, or perhaps something like Mantle of Parallax, is the introduction of the guaranteed 1 LP slams. Pontificating for a moment on the current build that I have on the screen here, this is a Racing Strike. The 1 LP slams make something like this monumentally easier than it's been in the past. Your entire build is just like guaranteed 1 LP slams on a handful of unique items. Like your Racing Strike, Titanheart, boom, done. Hybrid Health, Shattered Chains, boom, done. T7 mana, T7 mana, T7 void damage, done. Like that's not the entire build, but it's like 80-90% of it. It's like that's a huge portion of the build. It's just mitigated by not having to fail the 1 and 4 over and over. So like having the guaranteed 1 and 4 slams is a good change to the game because it pissed people off. And games are meant to be fun. On the other hand, it also made getting the baseline of a build like this significantly easier than it's ever been before. And the baseline of this particular build is very, very high. So like, should they address that? Does it need to be addressed? They simply nerf a Racing Strike. That's on them. They can do whatever they want with that. But DR, yeah. Even Red Ring of Atlaria, these things here, like even having the 10% less damage taken if you have at least 180 total attributes. I made a video announcing Red Ring and I was like, oh my god, look at this sick new item being added to the game. And all the YouTube comments in that video were just saying, what a boring item. Right? They were just saying like, what a stupid chase item to be introduced to the game. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't make my Erasing Strike a rainbow. You know, it doesn't make... It's like, I don't... These people, man, they're like, Red Ring, what a boring, rarest item in the game. It's like, well, a lot of builds can use it. Because that all res is wonderful. That attributes is so good as well. And like the less damage taken if you have at least 180, you have an opportunity cost. You can't use other rings if you're using Red Ring. Not every build is going to get to 180 total attributes. Like it's simply not going to fit in every single build. It's one of the pillars of Last Epoch. It's one of the things that you should know about, that you should consider like consciously whether you're going to try to include this in your build or whether you're not going to try to include this in your build. And having a pillar that defines part of the build creation process, I think is completely appropriate. No, more items like this, more endgame chase items that require your build to fulfill some requirement that are that are at odds with each other, so you have to pick and choose. Looping us back to the very thing I said at the beginning of the video here is the opportunity cost. Last Epoch does a really good job with opportunity costs. And I think that they should lean into it more. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.